Welcome back to Monster Creek Bids. Today I'm wanting to do a little update on the 168F diesel that I had done a series on, where I went through it, retightened everything, done a couple of modifications, cleaned everything out, hoping to make this thing as reliable as possible. Then I installed it on the log splitter. After I got it on the log splitter, actually the thing ran really well. It met my expectations 100%. However, I really didn't get to do a thorough reliability test on it. I've only got 6.6 hours, and here it is sitting back on the bench. I would love to be able to give you a little more insight on how reliable this machine is going to be in a practical setting, except I made a huge mistake, and it was my fault 100% at this point. I cannot blame the engine, and I'm going to tear it down and see what kind of problems that I've created, because I did it. I want to see what's going on, and we're getting ready to find out if parts are available for this thing, and how long it takes to get them in, how much it costs, if I can even get them. So at least this way, if you have one of these engines and make a mistake, you know, it is what it is. And always buying parts can be an issue. So we're gonna get started. It shouldn't take me too long to tear this thing apart. I've already got a video on how to do so. So I'm just gonna kind of rip it down. I'm not gonna explain anything. If you wanna see how these things come apart and put back together, please check out my series. And then here we go, a 6.6 hour diesel engine that I used a little too much starter fluid on in the cold weather. And now we have no compression. So we're getting ready to see what kind of damage I did. I'm betting it over-revved for a second when I did it. I squirted it, and as I was putting some in, I squirted it, started it, it fired off once. It stopped, squirted it, and it started running a little rough. I went to do one more squirt, and when I did, I had gloves on at the time, and I over squirted the stupid thing, and it over-revved, and now we have no compression. So let's see what I did. Here's an example of how much compression this has got, and that is the decompression lever is not in play. So let's see what I did. Here we go. I bet I've had these little hose puller pliers for 15 years now, 10 or 15 years. These have been one of my better investments. I love these things. They're pretty awesome. Just use that V. Makes life way easier. The valve train's moving. Okay, feels roughly about the right amount of adjustment. I'm not going to check that right now because it still has no compression. So, but there is a little bit of looseness in the rocker, so that tells me, you know, the valve could be slightly open, but nothing is out of the ordinary there. What we've got, well, there doesn't appear to be a hole in the piston. I'll have to get me a straight edge and check that, but that looks good. I'm not seeing anything there. Take this dowel off. I'm not seeing any obvious burn or anything on the head gasket. We'll put those dowel pins in the head bolts. Dowel pins on that head bolt. That's nice and smooth. I'm not hearing anything. All right. Let me see if the valves are sealing. One of my favorite ways to see if a valve is sealing is you can take a little bit of carburetor cleaner and spray inside. Okay. I have filled up the exhaust valve. The exhaust valve is full of brake fluid. I'm seeing absolute zero fluid coming out of there. Okay, let's dump that out. Now, let's try the intake. Dry as a bone. Nothing coming out of there at all. If you have a burned valve or if your valve is warped, it would leak. I'll see if I can open it a little bit by hand. See how the fluid just dumped out of there? It was sealing 100%. If it'll seal carburetor cleaner, then that valve is sealing. Both valves are moving free. Can't spin them. All right, here I have a ground piece of, this is actually a ground V-block. And what I'm doing is I'm taking this, laying it across. This is a 1,000th feeler gauge. Right now there's nothing there. And this is a precision ground block. And I'm just checking it all the way around. And that thing is as flat as it can be. I can't ask for, literally can't ask for any better. Let me check the head. Here. Let's get this head. And I'm going to do the same thing. We'll see if the valves get in the way though. Yep, the valves are in the way a little bit, but I can check it this way. Push rod's not bent. Well, after checking everything out, I'm pretty much thinking it's the head gasket, just not sealing good. Okay, everybody, I want to give you a little update. I went ahead and after doing the inspection that you saw earlier, made sure everything was flat. I had another head gasket. I installed the new head gasket, bolted it all together, set the valves, spun the crank over by hand, and still had very minimal compression. And I'm like, well, okay, now we got something else. Something's not right. So I went ahead, took it back down real quick, and lo and behold, what I found is a broke piston. Look at that. The piston broke in between the rings, and I'm getting ready to take that apart. Boy, that thing, I'm going to double check in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and try to pull the rings off, see if I can get that part of the piston out, but it really almost looks like that is a super, super porous cast right in that area. I'm going to inspect it real close here in a minute, try to take some close-ups. If you notice, the top of the piston is actually in very good shape. That's the reason I was surprised to see it broken a little deeper. I knew something had to have happened. Now I know what it is. So let me finish pulling the rings out of this thing real quick if I can, and then I want to take a little more inspection of that piston where that thing broke. Cheap Chinese diesel engine with a broke piston that cost $79 to replace, which is roughly half the cost of a decent quality gasoline engine that I could put on the log splitter. About a third the cost of a brand new one of these little diesel engines. And so what do? I do want to add a little more information. Is I took a high-powered little magnifying glass and inspected the piston. I did find out though, yes, absolutely 100%. When I used the ether, it over-revved a little bit for a very short period of time. There's obviously some clean break in the cast iron. It's nice and shiny, obvious clean break. When it catastrophically failed at that moment, lost compression. The interesting part is looking at it closely. There's also some areas of the broken, excuse me, it's cold in the shop, my hose around a little bit. There's some fractured area that appears that it's just not shiny. It's a real dull fracture in that piston. You know, so I've got some areas that's really nice and pretty and shiny, and then some areas that's really, really dull looking where the cast iron broke. And I'm not 100% sure that that piston wasn't already weak, and I just finished it off with the over-rev, and that's at 6.6 hours. So if I had not have used the starting fluid, would it have went several hundred hours? Who knows? I did use the starter fluid, went 6.6. But looking at the piston is pretty inconclusive whether or not I actually did all the damage or I may have. I don't know. And looking at how much it cost to fix it versus honestly what I feel like is the right thing to do, which, you know, in the past in all my videos I'm saying, hey, you know, like, subscribe, and I'm glad you guys did. I am trying to build a channel. I've had a bit of a delay in doing so, but I am trying to build this channel. I've got some things on the plate that I want to do, and but I've asked y'all to like and subscribe and join. And knowing that I did make a mistake that could have caused this to fail in 6.6 hours, it really hasn't probably answered any of y'all's questions on are these things any good or not, which is actually kind of what started me even doing this series myself. And I know that's how a lot of you guys have found me, is by looking up stuff on these little engines. So I've got the stuff ordered. I'm putting it back together, and it should be here in about a week and a half to 2 weeks, according to the receipt. As soon as it's here, I'm putting it back together. we're getting it on the log splitter, and I'm actually going to start working it hopefully quite a bit. I'm pretty far behind on my wood log splitting, my processing. I need to get a lot more firewood going. So we're going to try to get some more time on this thing. I want to see how reliable it is. I want to like this engine. I really do, because frankly, the fuel economy on this thing will just, even in only 6 hours, I was able to tell this thing is a fuel sipper. I loved it. I'm not near as concerned about fuel sitting in it over time as I am a gas engine. The fuel will definitely last longer, and it will definitely last longer. It will not go bad as fast as in a gas engine if it happens to sit unexpectedly a lot longer than I want it to. And that the way the power delivery was on this little thing worked very well, at least with the log splitter. Even running, I think I ran it around 2,700 RPMs ish. It really just did well. I'd put it under a load. The governor it just flowed. I mean, it really did work really well for that time period. And I would love for it to be a success. And I guarantee you though, whenever I put it back together and we try to run this thing, I'm not going to overshoot it with ether, because if it is going to fail prematurely, I want to know. And I want you guys to know. So we're going to put it together. I'm going to be shooting another video soon. Look forward to seeing that. And I sure appreciate you guys. And thanks a lot. And we will have another video out here pretty soon.